Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this morning's webinar on member material isolate and cutting section views in Drawing Editor. Is going to be our focus here today. So we're going to start off actually in the model talking about member and material isolate, how that works, what we can do in that, just some different things on that. So the main purpose of member and material isolate is going to be add and modifying views that will be placed on the 2D member and 2D submaterial details. Now, that being said, other modeling commands can be used while we have a member or material isolated, and that can a lot of times make certain tasks easier if we need to see things better or just get that particular member kind of broken off from the rest of the model temporarily to do a few tasks. So how are we going to isolate a member? This can actually be done several different ways. Now, the way that I'm going to do it, I typically use a keyboard shortcut on my keyboard, and in your default toolbar settings, this is just MI on your keyboard. So when I type MI, notice my status line tells me select members to isolate. By default, again, on the default toolbar, there's a button over here, Isolate Member by Location. It's going to ask me to pick a member to isolate. You can also use your pull-down menu under Model Member. We have Isolate by Location. You can do by piece mark or by member number as well to bring up a list to select from there. So again, like I said, I typically use my keyboard shortcut, so I'm going to pick the member I want to isolate and just type MI on my keyboard, and that isolates that member from the rest of the model, brings up my isolate member window, and what we have in the isolate member window is just the list of all the current views that are going to be detailed with this member. We can see in the model we have construction lines with numbers at the end of them on each edge of the screen. Each one of those corresponds to the views in the isolate member window. You see you have the numbers here to correspond. So as an example, 3 cross section is going to be a view along this construction line. Okay. I can open these different views to give me a preview in the model of what it's going to look like on the 2D. So if I just simply double click that view in the isolate member, it's going to change to that view, and this is going to actually be what the 2D view is created based off of. Now you'll notice on this particular view we have an extra cyan dashed border around here. So basically what that indicates to us is this view is actually clipped and will only include what's inside this clipped portion. You can clip outside as well, and I'll show you how to do that here after a bit, to where we could actually clip what's inside this box, and the view would only include things on the outside of that box. Okay. I'm just going to go back to my main view here again, so I'll double click main view. And next, deleting views. Okay, if there's certain views in here that I don't require, all these cross sections that we see here, these are really essentially the same thing. So if I open up view 2, view 1, okay, they're indicating to me they're going to be showing me the same thing. So maybe I only want one of these cross section views. Maybe I'm going to keep the number 3 cross section here. So I want to delete the rest. I'll just go ahead and pick delete over here on the right, and then this allows me to pick which views I want to delete. One thing you will notice in this list, we do not see the view number 3 cross section. Okay, I can't delete a view that I have open currently. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick those 3 cross sections, click OK to get rid of those. Now, one thing that used to happen in the past, in like version 7.2 with member isolate, if I were to have deleted one of these views, I'm just going to click OK, go back to my normal model here again. Now, if I were to have deleted those views in the past, and then I simply mark this member for processing, those views would get regenerated. Okay, you can see here now, I do not actually have those views come back, and actually something happened there to where my other cross section went away. That's okay. I'll show you how to recreate that quickly and easily here. Okay, so that's deleting. I can quickly add any preset views that I might need that SDS2 didn't create for me. So you can see here, these are the views that I currently have. If I go to preset, I can add different top flange view, bottom flange cross section. Maybe I need like a left end view or a right end view. So if I go ahead and check that box, it's going to create that view. Notice it tells me this one's user created, so I can just quickly look at this and tell which views I have actually created. Now if I open up that view, I can see what that view might look like. Okay. If I need to create a section view, maybe I'm going to create that section view again here for showing my shear plates. I can simply click the New button, and I'm going to go ahead and pick my points here from right to left. Okay, so I got my cross section there. I can go ahead and now double click to open that. Notice how it clipped that. I may need to adjust some of my depth check options here, so maybe I want to adjust my depth check up top to see this a little bit differently. Okay, so there, kind of got my view. Maybe I don't like how this is clipped, so when I created that, I created it a little differently. I want to change how that's clipped. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the current clipping that's on there. So if I click the Unclip button, that completely unclips that, and it would basically just show me everything about this member in the detail. I want to adjust that a little bit, so I'll go to the Clip button and set the view clip limits. Basically, I'm just going to click and drag a box around what I want to keep here, and then it's going to ask me if I want to save the view inside or outside this box. So if I say outside, it's going to clip what's inside this box and show me what's on the outside. I want to save the stuff that's inside and clip everything on the outside. So I have that adjusted a little bit. And I can adjust not only the user created views, but I could also open this top flange view, and I could adjust, if I needed to adjust, say, the depth check or anything about this view, I can do that. The one exception to that is your main view. The main view can only be modified if this would be a miscellaneous members. So miscellaneous members are the only member types that can have their main view modified at this point. Okay. Other things I can do, I kind of showed you the new, which creates a cross section. Maybe I want a little bit different view of these shear plates here. So just to kind of demonstrate that again, I will show you how to create a section. I just picked 2 points, just as if I were creating a grid or cutting a section in my model. So pick my 2 points. I got my cross section there. Open that up. I can adjust that a little bit. Maybe I need to, I don't necessarily need that clipped. I really need to see the entire thing here. Maybe just need to adjust my depth check a little bit here again to include everything that I want. And I'm going to get that cross section view there. Okay. Other things you can do when you do adjust the depth check like I did here, if I don't click the Save button on my Isolate member window, those changes are going to be discarded. So if I go back to my main view, come back to cross-section. Notice those changes got discarded. So I'm going to unclip that again, adjust my depth check the same as I did before. I get that. Now I want to make sure I hit save. It's going to ask me to save the changes to this view, or I could create a new view and leave this one alone. I want to just save the changes for this one, so I'll save. Now if I go back, I can see I get those changes there again, and they're saved. The Save Area button here, if I do Save Area, okay, locate area to save, I'm going to click and drag a box. Now what this is doing, this is actually using, essentially doing the same thing as if you were to do Save Area from your regular model, okay? This is actually going to create an erection view, so if I do a detail and give this an erection view name, maybe I'm going to call it A-A, and maybe I want to make it just a placement only view type. Say OK. Notice I don't get a new view here in my Isolate Member window, but if I do click OK here, and now I go to Open View in Modeling, notice I now have the A-A, so it did a save area on that to create a new erection view for me. Okay, so one of the things that I mentioned was the main views of your member. So if I isolate this beam, I mentioned you couldn't modify this main view for all members except for miscellaneous members. So I'm going to actually show you, and I'm just going to input a miscellaneous member out in space here to demonstrate this. So I'll do a miscellaneous rolled section, and I'll kind of add it in here. Let's just add something. Doesn't really matter too much what it is here. Maybe I need to get it rotated into place. Okay, I'll say OK. Now, the way I have this set up and the way it's going to work, if I detail this member or if I just simply isolate it, okay, notice my main view is showing the view as I input this member in the model. Okay, if I want to change this, now I can do this since this is a miscellaneous member. Maybe I want this view to just be horizontal looking at the web. So first thing I might do is snap to that web, and then I get my view. Notice, however, it is not actually horizontal. Notice it's sloping a little bit. So how am I going to update that? Well, rotating here doesn't really do me much good. So one thing I can do, if I go up to my Navigate pull down, go down here, choose Rotate View. Now when I rotate view, it's going to ask me for a reference point, and I'm going to use the vertex point locator. I'm going to pick what would be the lower left-hand corner of this beam, and then again using vertex point, I'm going to pick what I want to be the lower right-hand, and notice it rotates that then so the view is aligned with my 2 points that I picked. I can hit OK to that rotate view window, and now if I zoom up here and look, notice how this is horizontal. I can go ahead and hit save. Again, it's going to ask me save, new view, or cancel. I want to just simply save over that, and now this will be my main view. Again, remember this can only be done on miscellaneous members. So demonstrating that, I do want you to, however, keep in mind there is a setup option now for how miscellaneous members are detailed, and if I go to Fabricator Options, under Member Detailing Fabrication Options, if I look at Miscellaneous, we have a detailed in position, horizontal, and vertical option there. Some of you may have tried this in version 7.3.1.2, probably didn't get quite the results that you were expecting. This should be working more as you would expect it in 7.3.1.6 now. So instead of going through the steps that I just did, we can use this option in 7.3.1.6 now to get those results as well. But if you still got older projects, wondering how to accomplish that, that's the steps we can take. Okay. The other thing about the member isolate I mentioned earlier was we can do more than just add and modify and delete those views in here. So just using this as an example, if I come over here and isolate my vertical brace, now maybe I want to make an assembly out of the connection over here on the right end. So what I can do is notice all my other commands are still active. So if I do a save assembly, maybe want to add some construction lines in here first for my reference point, I could go ahead and save that assembly, grab the materials that I want, locate my reference point, and give this a assembly name. Okay, claw angle 1, say OK. Now I have an assembly there. If I go in, load assembly, pick a member, I have that assembly. Maybe I need to isolate another member to get it added correctly, just like I did there. So you can kind of start to see this can be used for more than just adding views or modifying views. Now, I isolated a tube here. Maybe I need to add some reinforcing plate here. Maybe I want to run a parametric in this isolate member. So in my macro examples folder, I actually have a reinforcing plate. Okay, select my member, select the center point. I'm going to actually return. I'm going to leave the default options, and I got my reinforcement plate. So again, just showing you can do more than add and edit views. I ran parametric. I could create assemblies, add material to my members, make modifications, so on and so forth. So use more than just editing views. The other thing you may be asking is if I need to add maybe several different views to certain members, that can actually be done parametrically. Some of you may be aware of some of the parametrics that are available to add views parametrically. In our macro examples folder in the SDS2 data directory again, down towards the bottom, we should have some different parametrics that will add. In this case, maybe I want to add a bottom flange view to a bunch of beams. Okay, so I'll run that parametric. It's asked me to select members. I added these different beams here. Okay, asked me for the depth check. I'll go ahead and leave that. Select more. No, I'm done. Now if I isolate this member, notice I have a bottom flange cross section. It indicates it's user created, but it went ahead and quickly added that to each one of these members that I had picked here. So check out those parametrics. Can be save yourself some time there. Now, getting over into Drawing Editor, I'm going to go back to this beam that I was messing with here earlier, and I'm just going to go ahead and show that detail. And we could see in here I have my different sections that I created. Remember, I created that left end view. I get all of that. So we could just see how that, what member isolate, how that corresponds those views over here to Drawing Editor. Get rid of some of these construction lines. Now, if I go in and maybe I delete a couple of these views, I'm just going to delete these cross-section views here. So I'll delete 4 and 5. And next time I detail this member, I'll just use detail current piece mark. Notice those cross-sections are gone now. Okay. So this leads into our next topic. What if I open up my detail here? I'm going through, I'm cleaning up my details. I want to go ahead and create my view right here. I don't want to have to go back in modeling, find that member, isolate it, add the view, redetail, all that. Well, I can do that right here. So first thing I want to do is I need to have this drawing unshortened, and then I can go to my view pull down and choose section view. It's going to ask me the view from which I want to cut the new view. I want to just cut this from the main view here, and then I'll simply pick 2 points just like I would in modeling. It asks me for the depth limits, how far in and out from that point that I just picked I want to see in, how far out. So I'll adjust that a little bit. And then I just simply place that view where I want it. Okay, so now we have a section B-B. It does add the section marks here for me, so I don't have to worry about that. Okay. And again, one more time, maybe I want to add in the other view that I had deleted earlier. Okay, so I'm going to actually pick my points here, adjust my depth a little bit. Okay, get my second cross-section view there again. Okay, so we could just see here, this gives us an idea of different ways to create our views. Now, what if I created this view incorrectly here? Maybe the C-C I created a little bit differently than what I wanted to. Well, let's go ahead and hit the undo button up here. So we got rid of that view, right? Well, yes and no. What this does, when you cut a section view here, it actually adds that section view to member isolate in modeling. So the next time I were to detail this, okay, it brings that section view back. So what I need to do to really truly get rid of that section is I need to go back into modeling, isolate this member. I can see I have my 2 cross sections here. So number 5 indicated here, I want to delete. So delete cross section 5. Okay, now when I go back to my detail and detail this again, okay, I now get that drawing without that particular cross section, or maybe I needed to recreate it again to get it exactly as I wanted it to. So this gives us a quick rundown on member isolate and cutting section views on member details. So then that leads us into our submaterial details. Okay, maybe if I want to see what views are going to be added to this plate here, I can go to my model pull down to material, and I'm going to isolate material by location. It isolates that. Really, the one difference that you're going to see in material isolate and member isolate is the fact that when I isolate members, I immediately get the window up that has my views. I can edit them, so on and so forth. There are some potential issues with doing that with submaterial. So to prevent those issues, what we've done is we've had to kind of create an extra step here. You just simply have to hit the Edit Views button, and now we get the Isolate Submaterial window with my different views. Everything in here is the same as it was for Member Isolate. What you will notice is now when I'm editing those views, notice most of my commands over here are inactive. That is different than Member Isolate, where I could perform most commands. So once I hit that Edit Views, I can edit the views. I just can't perform other modeling commands. Okay, so if I want to see what kind of views I got here, I can do so. Add, edit, just like I would have for members. Okay, so maybe I want to see this detail now. I can go ahead and show that detail. And I see I got those 3 views that were shown in Submaterial isolate there as well. I can cut section views in Drawing Editor on these as well. Again, it works the same as it does for members. So if I choose my section view, pick the view from which I want to cut, and maybe I just need a quick view along this edge, adjust my depth check, and then I can place that view. Again, it gives me the section marks here, and it will also add it back to Submaterial Isolate in modeling, just like it was done for members. So if I edit views now, I see I have that cross-section user created. So again, if I were to maybe want to delete or modify that view, I can then come into modeling, isolate this, and if I want to get rid of it, and then maybe I want to detail that again. So remember, I deleted the cross-section view in modeling that I had created previously in Drawing Editor, and now it's gone. Okay. Finally, the last thing we're going to touch on here this morning is cutting section views on a erection view in Drawing Editor. So if I go ahead and I do need to actually detail an erection view quick, I'm just going to do one of my floor plans in a stick form. I'm going to choose my second floor here. And I'll go ahead and open this up. So I have my second floor. Notice on the second floor I do have a moment connection over here in the corner. Maybe I need just a small section view showing that moment connection. So same way I did on member details and submaterial details, I'm going to use that same section view command. Okay. It's going to ask me to add erection view. I'm just picking 2 points just like I did to cut my other views. Okay. Now what this is going to do, this will actually create a new erection view in modeling, and then you're going to see another step here where it goes through and actually details the erection view at the same time. So I believe in modeling earlier I created a A-A section. I'm going to create a B-B section. I have my depth check. This is the same window as if you were to create a new view in modeling. So just to show you that, if I go in here and do a new view, pick a couple points, this is the same window. It's acting the same, but we're seeing it in Drawing Editor. Okay, we will get an additional window here. We can tell it the scale that we want, so maybe I want a 1-inch scale, and then we get depth limits, up and down depth limits. So that is specifying into the screen and how far out of the screen that we want to see from the plane that this, the view that we're cutting from is in. Click OK, and like I said, it's going to actually create that view and then detail it. So I want to detail this one in a wire form. And then I'm just going to simply place that view where I want it right here. And we get, notice we have an end plate moment. We have some extended pass flange shear tab there. So what this actually does, like I said, it creates the view in modeling. So if I open view in here, I now have B-B. Notice here when I open it, I'm seeing the entire length of the column and seeing the beams connected. So if I look at this, I can actually double click and edit this. This is just placed onto this view as a sheet item. Notice it has a viewport called section cut. If I go ahead and hit open, this is going to open the actual erection view, and you'll see a viewport created on this erection view, and this viewport is what's being shown on the other view. This is the size of the 2 points that we picked for our section view, and then the up and down limits that we specified sets the depth of the viewport. And if I were to make changes here, maybe add some labels, some weld symbols or whatnot that I might need here, it is going to reflect back on this drawing here. The other thing that cutting the section views on Erection Views and Drawing Editor does, if we notice, we get our section cuts here, and this actually creates symbols, or it uses symbols to create these. So they're easily moved if we need to adjust them a little bit. The other nice thing is if I double click on that, notice my view is called out there. Maybe if I need to enter the page number that this is on, maybe it's on S10, hit OK, fills that in real quick like for me. So kind of a nice little feature there of cutting section views on your Erection views. Okay, so this concludes what we're going to cover here today on member and material isolate. If you do have questions that came up, please feel free email or call us here in support. Our email is support@sds2.com. Phone number is 888-883-2492. So like I said, if you do have questions, please feel free to give us a call. And I just want to thank everybody for attending today, and have a nice day.